This season marks a new beginning. Witness the raw power, iconic sound, and pure speed from the historic Lotus 79. Experience the competition and glory days of early 80s open-wheel action. Watch as drivers wrestle these ground effects cars into submission. Drivers will face off wheel to wheel. For some, it's a chance at redemption. For others, an opportunity to make a statement. All sharing the same goal, to be crowned champion. Who will be victorious tonight? The Lionheart Retro Series presented by DMLC Racing Channel starts now.
We're all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. From Road America, it's time for the Global Sim Racing Channel's coverage of the Lionheart Retro Series Season 4 Championship presented by the DMLC Racing Channel. This is the Rumble at Road America presented by Z1 Dashboard, and all of the simulated retro Lotus 79 action from Green Flag to Victory Donuts streams your way live as it happens right here on the iRacing Esports Network. From the land of cheese curds and discount double checks, welcome to another GSRC broadcast in the Sim Experience Countdown to Green alongside Ryan Jones. I'm Brian Yazik, joining you in the virtual press box for tonight, Rumble at Road America, presented by Z1 Dashboard Action. Sean Ambrose has director's duties, and all of the great camera angles tonight come courtesy of Dougie Beard. Road America, it's a track so good they named 2 continents after it. When you think of American road racing, you think of Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, and the famed 4-mile circuit. Let's learn a little bit more with your GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Road America. Nicknamed America's National Park of Speed, it's easy to see why just by looking at how the track is laid out. Long straights are a major feature, and drivers will build up incredible momentum before they find themselves interrupted by tight 90-degree corners. In fact, for a 4-mile circuit, it has shockingly few turns. It also has little in the way of variation in layouts. The main course is only broken up once with a single chicane added in the bend version. But don't take this to mean that it's a boring track. Elevation change happens many times over a lap, with a few places taking you into corners which are quite blind. But 2 of the turns on the back half of the course are perhaps the most distinctive. One is the carousel with its more than 180-degree radius. It just feels like it never stops. The other is the kink. Terrifyingly fast with very little runoff, it can end someone's race in a flash. As you'd expect, the heavy braking zones make for some ideal overtaking spots. Turn 5 sees plenty with its downhill entry. The hurried downs can offer drivers a chance at a sneak attack if you're brave, and then Canada Corner gives you one last shot before the lap is over. It's no wonder major organizations such as IMSA, IndyCar, NASCAR, and the SCCA all host major races here. All in all, many drivers rate this track as the best track in North America. Many who hop in the seat and try it can quickly understand why.
Well, let's know a little bit more about Road America. And tonight, as we welcome in my broadcast partner, Ryan, track familiarity won't be an issue here at Road America. And one of the things that I love about this circuit is 3 different long straightaways that gives us at least 3 heavy braking zones, which gives us 3 good passing opportunities. Ryan, let's talk about Road America here, buddy.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? You got plenty of high-speed stuff. You got long corners such as the carousel. You've got your 90-degree corners down at the end of turn 5. You've also got, those 3 straights you talk about, one of which has a corner in it that doesn't actually exist. The straight between 1 and 3 has a corner that doesn't exist. So it's 14 turns in length, but in reality, it's about, 12, maybe 11. But I tell you what, the fun place today is going to be down at that kink and heading towards Canada Corner. You get through there nicely, you can set yourself up for a move down at Canada, but I'll tell you what, easier said than done. And remember, as we move forward today, remember the Countdown to Green is brought to you by the Sim Experience AccuForce steering system. With the most advanced shooting features on the market, the AccuForce Direct Drive is second only to the real thing. To check out the entire Sim Experience line of products, head on over to simexperience.com.
And all of the drivers, 23 of them connected to the session tonight, taking turns here around Road America. Fun little track. It's it's one of my favorites, and I'm also bummed out for my buddy Jason Galvin. The highs of watching his Los Angeles Dodgers win the World Championship, to the lows of not being able to do the broadcast this week at a track that I know he and I both love. We've had a few good battles at ourselves, but enough about that. Let's talk about the Retro Series. Let's jump in. If you haven't been watching all season, let's kind of bring you back up to speed here. Let's look at the driver standings here presented by the DMLC Racing Channel. Now, this has drops factored in, if I'm not mistaken. Once this pops up. Oh, it's up. I just must have it on the right screen. So you got Ryan Otis out front in by 71 markers over Sage Carob. Now, I talked about 23 drivers tonight, and one of those drivers is not Sage Carob. So that second spot for points, not necessarily up for grabs tonight, but that does lay the groundwork for the next two races that we have to deal with. Then from there, you got Lionel Kalisto back there in third. Dustin Wardlow quietly having a really solid season despite the bad luck that he has had most of the year. I feel like anytime in an oval race, we seem to find that number 9 in part of the reason that the whole night went wrong. There you see Aaron Morgan after a rough race last time out, back to the fifth spot. Here you got David Clymer. Ricky Hart, the rookie. That's weird for me to say as long as I've been racing around. Ricky there in 7th. Classy Jason Bossy down there in the 8th spot. Let's move over to the team standings. Now, if you have been paying attention all year long, you'll know that this is pretty much wrapped up since I'm going to say about halfway through the season. But you've got Raven Motorsports Black there with Paulson, Otis, and Wardlow. You know, when one of your team members is the guy that is number 1 in points by a fairly large margin without drops, it's not a surprise that the team standings duplicate that. But there you go, Senrock Esports with Bossy, Corns, and Ducana. 327 markers back. But you see, here's where it gets fun. That battle for second between Avatar, Senrock, and Raven Motorsports Silver. You notice that battle is really close. Unacceptable outside chance up there, 405 markers back from the lead. Not too far back off of the overall second battle. So that could be fun to watch over these next two events. Ryan, what do you got for us with the Rookie of the Year standings?
Oh, this is quite a battle, isn't it? 3 points across 3 drivers, tied for second. Harden has the advantage over them at the moment. Bose and Ryan back there, second and third. Hearn's not far away, 17 points back there in fourth. Then Reagan, Malone, Crowd, Drilling, Miranda, and Gray are top 10. Pretty reasonably close to him. Crowd back to Miranda in that battle for P7. Reagan and Malone could definitely do some moving and shaking over the last few rounds as well. Definitely a lot to play for the Rookie of the Year honors.
The Lionheart Racing Series, powered by HyperX. It's the premier open wheel racing series on iRacing. It oversees 2 great series, your Lionheart IndyCar Series, presented by First Medical Equipment, and tonight's featured series, the Lionheart Retro Series, presented by DMLC Racing Channel. Both of these series honor the late Dan Weldon. And that's a pretty good guy to name the league after, have the spirit of Dan from top to bottom. It's always fun to sit around in some of the practice races or the practice sessions, or even on Discord, have some fun chats and bring back the past. A little bit recollect. You know, it's you look back and you think about things, and you know, everything happens for a reason in this universe, but it still misses. It stings just a little bit, Ryan.
Indeed, it does. You know what we do? We should take a look, though, at these race details, because we're in qualifying right now. and we are not far away from getting the racing action underway. These details come to us thanks to Minus 273, the premier name in karting gloves. Their industry-leading gloves are super lightweight and durable, motor-breathable poly spandex. Whether you're a kart or sim racer, Minus 273 gives you the control to reach victory lane. For more information on Minus 273's full line of gloves and apparel, visit www.minus273.biz. Don't forget to also use the code for 15% off orders. Now, series details. It is the fourth season of the Retro Series. 2 rounds left once we leave here today. We're in the Lotus 79, and we are running a fixed setup. $6,671 worth of cash and prizes for us this season as well.
A little chunk of change for racing, pretend race cars around pretend racetracks in your homes and wherever you're watching and having fun. Welcome to the yet again to another broadcast here as we watch Mike Rasmus move himself around the carousel. Mike Rasmus kind of making a name for himself as the season has gone on. Debuted as a rookie, already got himself a win. He's already been up in contention in a couple races this year that he's been in the Retro Series, and he also got the call up over to Indy. So look for Rasmus being on both series, both Wednesday and Thursday. There's the classy Jason Bossy coming across the line right now. I know the fan club for Jason Bossy is out there. I know they say they need a theme song for him. We'll figure something out by the end of the night. We can make that happen. Points leader Ryan Otis crossing the line right now. Qualifying, looking pretty tight from the top, and then you kind of getting these pockets. If you take a look at the times there, Ryan, where you get a couple things back and forth, and then little gap, big gaps, little gaps, big gaps. Here comes Ricky. He looks like he's on a good screamer lap right here across the line. Wow, that's pretty solid.
Goes up to 11 for that one, 56.614. 1.6 away from the top. Next across the line there was Dustin Wardlow. He only just missed out on improving. Qualifying is going to be important though today because no cautions like you're going to get on the ovals, and just the way that motorsport pans out, that the field spread naturally occurs no matter how fast you are. If you start last, at some point, even if you get yourself second, you're going to find yourself a long way behind the leader, purely based on the fact that it's impossible to go as fast as the leader if you're buried in the pack.
Well, then complicating factors too, the length of the speedway, the length of the track that we talked about. You start back in the back, the way that you come up the hill, you're already putting yourself in a deep hole to start off, and you're not even at the green flag yet. Now, Road America can prove to be a bit of a carnage fest as well, or at least a spot that can catch drivers out. And I know a spot. Let's stay right here on Richie Hearn. Well, maybe. Little Richie's internet there didn't want to keep working. But you see, right to the far way to the left side of the racetrack there, Tommy Ryan goes for a spin. I think that's off of turn 1. Let's keep on Houston right here. I want to get my point. If he could get down to turn 1. So to get turn 1 right, you have to go way out to the left side of the track. Well, slick tires and grass don't mix well. So that's where you can see some carnage. You see right there a little bit on exit, some of that dust and dirt and cat litter and whatever else is up there in turn 1 to stop cars from flying in there. Flying onto the track. There you see Finney in there, kind of demonstrating the other end of that point is when you kind of cut that chicane a little straight. Take a little bit of grass with you, bring that onto the track.
Hey, while you're getting right to that point, Ryan Otis, leapfrog Rasmus went fastest with a 54.8, only driver into the 54s in this session so far, with only a minute left to go, and Rasmus down on pit road. It's going to take someone who's currently over half a second away to find a storming lap to knock him off pole.
Let's take a look around the track. There's a couple drivers still floating around. At least about 10. I could kind of quickly curve. Oh, nope, George just parked us. That knocked a couple off. No, Richie's kind of working his way around the track. We got him on screen. They're all clustered right next to each other. Oh, Richie going for a spin off of Canada corner. Claiming another one. I mean, Ryan, if you've ever spent a couple laps here, you know just how hard it is to get Canada corner right.
Yeah, it is. It's incredibly tricky, carrying a lot of speed in, trying to maximize your exit because you're not slowing down too much to the next couple of corners either. As we see James Paulson coming up to finish off his final lap, and it's a 56.713, fastest he's done all session long, but only by 400ths of a second, so he doesn't improve.
Taylor was trying to hustle to get back to the line. Didn't quite see him make it, but hey, let's get and review the overall grid here. Starting grid, Ryan Otis, the #1 car in the #1 spot with Mike Rasmus to his outside there in second. Matt Taylor third with Chris Reagan in the 4th spot. Richie Hearn in 5th with Dustin Wardlow, the Candyman, to his outside. 7th going to Lionel Little Train Kalisto. Tommy Ryan, got a little extra thing that we could talk about him later on tonight there in the 8th spot. Aaron Morgan starting 9th, and 10th going to David Clymer.
Just missing out in that top 10, Jason Bosey. Ricky Harden alongside him, Trevor Malone and Ryan Corns up there on row 7. James Paulson and Finian Duna will line up on the 8th row of the grid, ahead of Travis Jagalana and Robert Mike, 17th and 18th. Matt Hudson and George and Zaldo make up your top 20. Just 3 more cars on this one. Scott Holmes, Mike Rigney, and Tyson Landers round out our field there, Brian.
Well, and if you were watching with us at the last race at Spa, we had a surprise standing start, which was fun for us up in the booth. Not so fun for those on the track, but you see the pace truck there leading the field. We're not going to have so much excitement on the initial start, which I'm sure brings just a little bit of calmness and clarity to the drivers. We got a long pace lap here. So we got a lot of things that we could still talk about. Let's see how many more we could get going here. Let's talk about the race analysis presented by Butt Kicker. Let's get that going. Let's get it right now. 31 laps around this facility. Max fuel stint is about 16. 25 incidents is the limit. Or 25 incidents get you a DQ. Now, 25 incidents, there's a couple spots through here that are a little tricky. Where would you say, Ryan, in your experience here, is a spot to really just get an annoying, silly 1X?
The kink. You know how many times I've tried to carry too much speed through there? But the thing is with the kink, it's less an annoying 1X and more a race-ending 2X with the wall.
Yeah, that does go from 0x to 2x to dead really fast when you get that kink just wrong. The Lotus 79s, they can. I think the grip through the kink is fun for these cars. I remember driving it a couple of years ago. Taking the kink flat out in anything is fun. So you kind of have that moment of bravery, and I think the setup that we had with the weather, that we could take that kink flat out a couple years ago. I haven't driven one of these probably since the finale. But now, since we're talking about some weather, clear skies over Wisconsin. Air temp 77, track temp being a nice little 105 degrees. Gentle southwest wind, 8 miles an hour, and that is blowing in basically at the driver's nose for turn 3/turn 2. I agree with you, Ryan. Turn 2 should not be turn 2, as more of it's just a minor turn of the steering wheel. Wind blowing across that way, also blowing across the carousel. Seeing, carousel being kind of a hot spot, Canada corner being a hot spot in practice. Coming off of that straightaway up the kink, that's where the wind is carrying these cars. Go on board. Yeah, let's go. Stop talking about weather and wind. Let's talk about onboards. Ryan Otis in the Z1 dashboard onboard, the telemetry and dashboard. Hey, let me back that up when you get the promo right. The dashboard and telemetry analysis suite for every sim racer. Z1simwheel.com. Let's go to Mike Rasmus with the Guys, Games, and Beer onboard camera. America's #1 Wisconsin-based multi-generational gaming podcast with a guy named Larry. Guys, Games, and Beer.net. We're going to dump some other cameras too at some point. We'll get there. All right, we're going to give George is going to get our -273 onboard camera, -273 durable, breathable, lightweight racing gloves. Check them out, -273.biz. Use promo code -273LHRS15 for 15% off of your orders. And for the DMLC racing camera, who are we going to give that to, Johnny? You know what? Let's give that to Tommy Ryan, because that's going to give me a fun segue later. On the DMLC Onboard Racing channel. DMLC, your home for the best sim racing videos online. Mark has a video from Gateway. Always puts in a lot of effort into his videos, into his racecraft. Fun channel to watch out there on YouTube. Field working their way through the bottom half of the track. Ryan, what do you think we're going to get when we get to turn 1?
3 wide. Someone's going to risk it.
Risk it for the biscuit. That's how you have to do it here at Road America. 2 races left in the Retro Series after tonight. We're going to have ourselves a curdy good time here. Ryan Otis onto the loud pedal. Green flag is going to be in the air, and we are underway at Road America as 23 Lotus 79s climb the hill. There's the flag man waving him down. Look at this beautiful camera angle with Otis at the front of the chain, leading it, weaving down into turn 1. Good action side by side. Watch that. There's that spot for the 1X. We got one off in the back. It's the 44, I believe, on Zaldo as well. Ryan, what do you see back there?
Not too much. I was looking at that 3rd and 4th battle. Reagan had a pretty good start there, Brian. He tried to get around the outside of Matt Taylor, but just dropped the left sides off in the grass. And in the end, we'll have to settle for staying 4th, which isn't really a bad result, all things considered. Look at this. Rush hour traffic into turn 5.
The hill underneath the Corvette Bridge. First battle you see through that screen, that was Richie Hearn and Dustin Wardlow. That was a contesting battle there for the 5th spot. Richie has it. Wardlow was after it. Tommy Ryan getting a good start as well. Field has kind of strung out single file as they've worked their way down to carousel, which is to be expected. Beautiful shot though. These camera angles, fun track, fun corner. Here's the king. You see just those right side or those left side tires just hanging out. Oh, but that was even when I drove that was on the old tire model. This is the new one. They could have a whole lot more fun with it. Fortunate drivers. What do you think, right?
Yeah, there's a move up the inside. That was Aaron Morgan getting by Jason Bozzi down at Canada corner. Going to be able to hold that spot as well. And then back up the hill, climbing towards the start-finish stripe. You see Otis there, moving across the track, trying to shake some of that slipstream he's handing off to the cars behind.
The rear wing on these Lotus 79s being that big draft maker. So Ryan Otis, he knows once he gets out to probably about a second, maybe 1.2, that the draft effect is not nearly as bad. And Rasmus has the talent to hang there. So this could be a fun, interesting development to watch to see if one can shake the other. Both drivers excel towards the end of the run. Both drivers are really good at taking care of their equipment. It'll be a fun battle to watch. But look, just back there, Matt Taylor, he might be under fire here really quick for Chris Reagan for that 3rd position.
Oh, man. I kept my eyes glued at turn 5 there. Jason Bozzi had his thing hanging out sideways and cost himself a spot to Callisto. So he had picked himself up a couple of positions on the opening lap. But now he's found himself falling down just a little bit. Take a look at this with our GSRC replays. He comes down towards turn 5 into the braking zone. Out where there's no grip. Nice little Tokyo drift and over the bump as well. Gathers it up.
I believe Martin Brundle says, what was it, optimism over adhesion? That could be a good way to describe that break zone into 5. And you carry a lot of speed. The other thing to combine there as well, that's also downhill. So you do get that little bit of speed from everything involved, and then you got to lower that down to these Lotus 79s that, you know what, they just don't like stopping on a dime.
No, they're pretty old cars. They're not exactly renowned for their stopping abilities. Lionel Callisto is going to find that times 10 out in the grass and the gravel. You can see him back of the shot, trying to skate back on the road. This was in front of Ozzy. He's been in on the action today. Yeah. Didn't see what happened. Oh, that's what. Grabbed the curb.
Yep. Just on that far side. Managed to not hit anything. A little bit of front wing damage. Still not bad.
Dead last now, though, unfortunately, of the cars running on the racetrack. Up front, it is still tight. There's the margin between Otis and Erasmus.
It isn't increasing and it isn't decreasing. It seems to be hovering right about that 7, let's call it half a second to 3/4 of a second gap. So Rasmus is being able to use these long straights to maybe just keep tight enough and then maybe try to work his magic under braking. I do feel like through the tighter bendy bits of this facility, I feel like Rasmus has got it through here. We're going to go on board through the carousel with our Guys Game Beer podcast, swinging it way out, having to come through the cake. Guts and determination. That's the only way to describe that corner.
Hey, Canada Corner. You know why it's called Canada Corner?
Why is it called Canada Corner, Ryan?
I don't know.
Oh.
No, I think no one knows. It is, though, apparently, because they were picking up one day and now it's just a sea of Canadian Club beer cans down there. And they thought, you know what? We'll call it Canada Corner.
We'll look at the battle for the 7th spot. Tommy Ryan, David Clymer, Aaron Morgan, Classy Jason Bossy. There's a good little train forming right back there. Update on the initial wreck that I heard from the, we called it out from the start. Looks like Travis Jaegerliner has unfortunately retired and disconnected from the session. The number 44 machine. I thought I saw a car off in the kitty litter back there. Let you tow. That's pretty much the end of that.
Yeah, he's 2 laps down now, isn't he? Back there in 22nd. One car didn't take the start. That was Rigney. There's some side-by-side action. Off of turn 5, up across the crest into 6. That's always dicey wheel to wheel. Should be able to stem the flow. It's just losing one spot. That was a good move.
Solid, and now Ryan under attack from Morgan. Morgan going to go to work, go to the inside here as they work their way down the back half of the facility. Turn 8, turn 9 into the carousel. Tommy's going to pull back ahead. Keep an eye on that 48 machine, though. Going to be able to use that draft down this straight. If you could get close enough through Kettle Bottoms, you could get a run into Canada Corner, but you have to be close enough. That might be, I think Morgan might be there. He's tucked up right behind the rear wing. Morgan swinging it out, showing the nose, deep and sending it down into the corner, making it stick. Give that spot to Aaron Morgan, but Tommy Ryan coming back on the crossover, side by side. Not going to work through there. Tommy's going to give up room, give it back to, now he's under attack from Bossy, side by side through turn 14, up the hill, give it to Bossy, but Tommy Ryan right on the rear gearbox, heading down the long straight. I think that Bossy is going to have to be on the defense here going into turn 1.
You know, Morgan was desperate to make that move because it came off the back of a mistake. Ryan slid the rears coming out of the kink, and that allowed Morgan to get that momentum. He didn't want to give up that opportunity. So that's why he sent it down into Canada Corner so hard. And it pays off, and poor Tommy Ryan, one little mistake costs him 2 spots. And he's going to find it tough now to work his way back forward.
Well, and now, interesting enough, Aaron Morgan has kind of checked out from that battle a little bit in all the skirmish. Morgan is setting his sights on the rear spoiler there of David Clymer. Interesting battle. I want to look just back beyond that, though. Trevor Malone, Ricky Harden, Finian, and we got James Paulson back there, Finian Ducana. Nice little 4-car battle for the back half, just outside of the top 10. Ricky has it, the winner at a couple weeks ago. Wasn't expecting to get the win there. I believe that was at Michigan that we were at. Say that now, because I'm not sure. Michigan. Sean, thank you. It was an exciting battle. It was that, I think it was him and Wardlow. Great racing, no matter what. That's how the Lionheart series works. Oh, that battle, Ryan, that battle, I mentioned it, Clymer versus Morgan. It's a battle now. It's there.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good, isn't it, right now? Tommy Ryan's fallen away. Jason Bozzi's making good progress. Remember, he's been up and down and up again in this race already. It's just lap 5. Been in the thick of it here, in the fringes of the top 10, and David Clymer is going to have to defend, because here comes Morgan. We know he's good on the brakes, but he thinks maybe not. Turn 1's braking zone is probably the shortest of the 3 big straights, because Turn 1 itself is quite an open corner compared to Turn 5 and Canada corner.
Absolutely right. I mean, having to carry that momentum, keep it swapped through there. I've always liked Turn 5 as a better passing zone than Turn 1. Especially if you get someone crossed over, from the IndyCar side, you get someone down 1, well, then they can just push to pass you and get you back out on in 5, and now you have to follow them all the way back around. So, to me, as the driver, Turn 5 is where I'm trying to make my passes.
Turn 5's also very easy to miss. You've got to brake earlier than you expect, don't you? Because you're sweeping downhill. Gravity things.
Yeah, there's all sorts of sciences that play out, and they all don't work for you. Great battle here. Let's go look at over here, this left side. The drivers working their way through the carousel. A lot of throttle control. And kind of once you get, my marker's always been kind of where that rumble strip starts. Depending on the grip level of the car and how much downforce, but you can pretty much get it back to there, because you want to carry all the momentum into the kink and then carry that all the way down into Canada. Again, utilizing one of those heavy braking zones to try to make an opportunity. Morgan seems to be, at least at the time, quite content hanging in the rear, the wake, basically, of Clymer, but I can't imagine that's going to last very long.
Back up the entry. The final corner, then get the power down nice and early. It looks like he's done that.
That was there.
It was, and now, look how close he is.
Pulling out, yeah, that's where you do it.
Like candy from a baby.
Of Halloween coming around, that's all treats and no tricks. With Halloween falling on a Saturday this year, I hope that people heed my warning and don't go too hard Saturday night. The way the universe is right now, I'm sure that a lot of costume contests are canceled, which is upsetting to a lot of people, and a lot of people that are heavy in that sort of thing. And I know a lot of people that, and then I know a lot of people that just toss, a sexy whatever into it, and that's their costume. So,
Hey, did you catch that?
Everybody kind of messing that corner up. I'm not say Clymer was thinking about what he was going to be for Halloween and what houses had the full-size candy bars. But you talked about it just a minute ago, how easy this corner is to miss. More optimism ahead of adhesion there, Ryan.
I'm gonna go and dress up as Gandalf for Halloween. To accomplish this, I'm just gonna print off a photo of our director Sean's face and stick it on my shirt. We're good to go.
All right. Sean and he can't publicly retort. That's unfortunate for Sean.
It's the best bit.
Well, I thought about going as Big Bird, but I'm too fat, so I think the image would be backwards.
Yeah.
They just look at me, Big Bird. Well, yeah, I'm big. You get
Yeah,
so
Big Bird went heavy on the candies this year.
This year? Wait a minute, hang on. I missed going to the gym last week, Ryan.
Hey, what did we miss with Climber and all of this, by the way? He's gone back to 9th on this lap.
Yeah, as we've been rambling, poor Climber has fallen back again.
And that wasn't the turn 5 mistake. He got away with that.
Well, turn 5 kind of opened up Pandora's box for him, and that's what all of a sudden he found himself swatting angry bees. Yeah, let's jump up to P3. This battle has been simmering, and now it's probably brought to a boil. Taylor taking the defensive line into turn 5. Richie Hard, sorry. Oh, there goes the planks.
Richie got caught out there. He was so much quicker than Taylor through the apex, and he had to lock it up and cost himself some time because Taylor just went nowhere.
You're right, and I think when Taylor took the defensive line, that early down the straight, I feel like that maybe threw Richie for a loop. Like he wasn't expecting him to be there. Just back off of that, you saw it briefly in the back of one of the camera angles. Chris Reagan having a big wiggle coming up on the other side. I think that was right about turn 6-7 area. Turn 6, yeah, the car came off and really had a big slide.
Are they lifting through the kink? Their speed doesn't drop at all. So they're lifting, but they're still maintaining their speed. They're not lifting and costing themselves anything at all. 247 kilometers an hour they coasted through the kink.
Well, and I'll bet you if it's any lift, that's the driver just nervously, just out of habit, like maybe I got to breathe it just a little bit. Driver's mindset that says, I have to breathe it versus I have to send it. We're only at lap 9. We get to 9 to go. That story's going to be a little different. Speaking of a little different, Richie tried to make the podium look different up the inside of Matt Taylor down into turn 1. That's about as textbook as you're going to get. Now watch this battle working its way around turn 3. Richie might be on it. He might have found the ball. Oh, he's going. I'm getting out. That's the defense towards turn 5.
Richie is carrying some mega mid-quarter pace right now. Gaps Taylor comfortably through one corner. And that means he's going to be safe down here at 5. Now, one thing that piqued my interest earlier, you mentioned the fuel number. 31-lap race, you said they could make it 16 laps on a tank. But how comfortable is that 16 laps? Because if you have to pit just 1 lap early, you won't make it on one stop.
Well, I think to remember, too, we had a full pace lap here. Now, these drivers are very apt at saving fuel under the caution and the pace lap, but that's still 4 miles on that tank of fuel that you can't put back. So the first stint, it's going to be interesting. We get to lap 15, we're just going to have to see. We're getting close to the window, but, speaking of getting close to things, Aaron Morgan, Jason Bossi, David Climber, they can't seem to just get away from each other. Just like
no, they can't.
In a line down through Canada Corner.
That's wide. That is wide for Morgan.
Wide. That's wide but fun. Oh boy.
Watch this. Bossi could get a good exit out of this final corner. He was sliding in there though. Bit of a 4-wheel slide and doesn't gain much. In fact, probably lost just a little bit. With there being 3 long straights, you do save just a little bit being in the draft as well. Engine naturally not having to work as hard to push you through the air, so there's that aspect to consider. Of course, it's not as predominant as an actual speedway track. Oh, he's grabbed the grass and he's gone.
Put the rear tire into the grass and around goes that 48 machine. No damage other than to the Pride. Let's go on and take a look here. You see got a little squirrely off of 1. down into turn 3, trying to make that corner as wide as possible, and just dipping those left side tires off into the grass. Flat tires, or not flat tires, smooth tires, and dead grass just don't work. They just don't work with each other.
Tell you what, Ozzy was lucky not to go with him because I was on board with him when that mistake was made, and I felt like I was going to go with the mistake, and I wasn't even driving the car. Monkey see, monkey do. He's lucky he was able to avoid copycatting that, and he sneaks through. But that is a very costly mistake.
Coming on to pit road, and when it's his time, fill it up full of gas and change of underwear, please. Crew on board above the helmet. Dustin Wardlow poking the nose out, trying to do a little bit of intimidation. I'm here, driver, don't worry. Caught him back on exit, so maybe that did work. Wars Candy. Oh, those are some good shoes. Oh, they're happy. I'm sorry, Ryan. I don't know if they shipped us down to your neck of the woods. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's Sean. We might have to. Yeah, we know a couple guys, Ryan. Don't worry. We could get you some if you need be.
You ever had Tim Tams?
I haven't, but isn't I thought that's just, if I'm not mistaken, that is the Australian name for something that's known by something else around the world? Or do I have that something else?
Probably. It's no. It is God's gift to Australian confectionery.
Well, I mean, over in North America here we have Tim Horton Timbits, and that's a good gift to culinary gifts right there. Culinary gifts to culinary gifts. Yeah. All right. So
this further back, Climber up in 8th right now, on the back of Jason, and then number 17. Now that Jason's been released, thanks to that mistake we saw from, who was it again? Morgan, right in front of him. It's interesting to see he's not really dropping Climber at all. Climber's sticking with him pretty nicely.
A little bit. It seems like they'll trade corners. You know, I like Bossy might be better through the carousel, but you know, the Climber is better into Canada corner. And I feel like that's this battle that you're going to see pretty much probably all night between these two drivers. Look on board once again over the left shoulder, swinging that way out wide. It's a fun corner to get right. It's a little bit scary. Whoa!
Speaking of which,
scary. Swat flies in the cockpit of that Lotus 79 as Ryan Otis goes purple. Stop me if you've heard that at any point this season. Back up front, though, Ryan Otis. Let's talk about Ryan. We haven't talked about him for a minute. Just went purple. Ryan has been able to stretch that gap out over Mike Rasmus just a little bit. For the first half of this run, it was hovering right about, let's call it a second. Now it's upwards of about 2.5 seconds. Battle's not done, though. We've seen Rasmus make a late race charge before.
A lot to be lost or gained as well when we go through our what should be one and only pit stop cycle on this one as we dive on board with Rasmus. You can see Otis just up ahead.
It's the worst as the driver. Close enough that you can see him, but not close enough to catch him. You're just trying to rely on hustle and your markers, everything that you can do to try to close that gap up. And yeah, and I'll tell you what, on that Z1 dashboard camera, I much rather like Ryan Otis's view. Having that little blip back there in and amongst the trees. Yeah, that's second place. You're okay, Ryan. You're good.
You ever notice that when you're leading, a 1 second gap to second feels brilliant, but when you're second, a 1 second gap to the guy in front feels like an eternity.
Yeah, you know, I've never thought about that until right now, and that's really spooky. Really spooky accurate. Back to the battle for the 10th spot. Ricky Harden has it. Trevor Malone, Finney and Ducana, they're trying to catch him, but more importantly, Ricky's starting to make
Matt
it.
Taylor's off the road. Sorry, Brian, up from 5th place is Boulder Wide. There he is, and he's going to lose out to Tommy Ryan and should slot into 9th place here.
And look at that again. Get the camera shot there. Let's go on board. Yeah, let's take a look at this. Just, that's the other part that's so tricky about turn 14 is just how far to that edge you got to run it. You don't worry about the rear tires, it's that front tire because you need that one to turn, and it just doesn't turn in the dirt.
Second time we've seen that today, Callisto making that same mistake. But that was down at turn 3.
Date for you fans of Lionel, Little Train Callisto has rebounded to the 14th position. Trugging, he's bringing it back. Wouldn't surprise me to see Little Train get up to maybe the back half of this battle. Maybe sniff out a top 10, which would be an amazing recovery.
Yeah, he's currently 10 seconds behind Tommy Ryan, who leads this train. Only about 8 seconds off the back of the train, so certainly within hope, especially if they start battling away in front.
He's running
themselves time pretty quickly. Yeah, exactly.
That does make life a little easier. Lap 13 of 31 here tonight. We've completed. Let's go on board again. Take a look at Rasmus. Let's see what he gets. Ooh. Otis responding. Rasmus stole the fastest lap back away. And Ryan Otis, I know he uses telemetry software, and I know he saw that. Do you think maybe that inspired the next lap? I mean, you know, you got the number one on the car, you're the defending champion. You gotta really make sure people know whose yard they're playing.
I've never understood being able to drive to a lap time, responding to the pace of the cars in front and behind. I've got one gear, and it is flat out into the fence by lap 5.
Yeah, the problem for me is the only people that I'm beating on track anymore is I'm beating the paramedics to the scene of the crash, usually by a solid 30 seconds.
Decent response time.
Decent, yeah. Yeah. Enough of this driver that used to have talent way back in the day. Let's go take a look at Finian and Trevor, 2 drivers, battling it out here. James Paulson, an interesting bystander, just off of that battle. So if those guys get side by side, that could pull Paulson back into it. Could pull Little Train into it. Trevor's working their way through the carousel. Couple different lines that you see there. Malone sticking real close to the bottom. Looked like Finian was kind of floating it, maybe taking a diamond. Either way is wrong. Just depends on however you like, whatever makes you feel most confident. That's the beautiful part about the carousel.
You know who's quick? Forget Callisto. Morgan right behind him is quicker.
Remember, Morgan had that mistake earlier, and I know as a driver, when I make a mistake and it costs me, I get angry. And when I'm really angry, I'm worth about 2/10. So I think Aaron Morgan's probably seeing the red mist of war right now, and he's going back on the charge.
I'll be seeing the maroon red right now of Callisto's rear bumper, or gearbox, or wing, whatever you want to call it. Now he's ahead of him, and this should be move made. In fact, what color is that car? Maroon? Brown?
Morgan? Yeah, we'll call that maroon. I'm not the right guy to ask. I grew up with the 8-color Crayola set. I didn't have the 32 or the 64 where you could get in between colors. And what was it? A&M maroon? Oh, Texas A&M maroon. That makes a lot of sense. Yep, up there now. Adam Young, a Texas boy. No, he's not a Texas boy. Texas, not Texas A&M. I do apologize for any college football fans that are sharpening their stakes to come get me right now. Hang on.
I apologize to all the viewers that are listening to a one-sided conversation right now. They can hear your side, but not Sean's.
Well, you know, I'm just kind of rambling to myself, and I'm trying to make it work. All right, let's go back to Tommy and Taylor here. We're going to hear back on the DMLC Racing channel on board. While we've got Tommy on board with that DMLC Racing channel, let's mention that Tommy Ryan is our driver profile. 17 races here in the Retro Series, driver of the number 99 machine. No wins, no poles. 2 top 5s, 7 top 10s. First start, Homestead, season 1. Couple pit stops happening.
Hang on.
A couple weeks ago back in Iowa.
It's only the beginning of lap 16.
Well, that's very interesting. That was Ryan Otis on pit road.
Race leader, yeah.
Richie has stretched.
They're the only two. There's not many that pitted. Otis, Rasmus, Wardlow, Klein Morgan, Hardin, Callisto. The list is getting bigger. Malone and Zoldo. About half the field. I think, given the fact they had that 4-mile pace lap, they should be fine.
Should be. Should is a mighty strange word in the English language. So much hope, so much optimism. Riding on board here with George Anzaldo, series founder, overall good guy, minus 273. Onboard camera. Poly spandex gloves. It's a high-tech driver comfort. Great gloves. I've never heard anybody say one foul word about it. It looks like on the pits, Ryan, this battle between Otis and Rasmus may have gotten a little tighter.
I reckon you're right. Look at that. Looks a little bit tighter than 2 seconds. Maybe 1.5. Still in favor of Otis, though. Currently, they are now 8th and 9th on the racetrack. They should be the leaders next time by. Everyone else should be coming in this time. Unless someone is able to go another lap on their tank, which seems improbable. Here they come. This is the rest of the field.
Yep, you kind of had it split right down the middle, half and half. So now we know that these drivers 100% can make it to the end of this race. I'll say Otis and everybody else that hit on the last time, I'll put that at a solid 80%. I don't think they're short, but I don't think they're as good as these guys. Should cycle everything back around. Ryan Otis back out front. Rasmus just hanging close enough to lurk. Remember that gap about 2 seconds before the pit stops? That's coming back just a little bit here.
See if Bishop got 1 second at the line. And this could be close enough that Rasmus could pull some draft.
What were you saying about?
Time down the stretch.
What were you just saying about 1 second feeling like forever?
Well, I reckon Otis right now knows he's there, but he could be more worried. If you're Rasmus, so you're thinking, damn, how am I going to pull a second on the guy in front of me? Or is it the other way around? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll run with it. We'll run with it.
I know there's an effect there somewhere.
There is. We're there. Yeah, I mean, you get to it within whether he's running that second mark. I mean, right now Rasmus is pulling the track. There's no way around it. The closer you get, the better it gets. The further away, the worse it gets. That's basic education, basic science. What was it? Pitts topology with Professor Lugnuts. Sean, I think I can hear a groan. Yep. There's one for the way back. I believe you were doing that 2 or 3 years ago on the IndyCar series. The director of Pitts topology. Yeah, let's bring that
And
memory
there
back.
are a chorus of groans coming from our director right now.
Professor Lugnut. Dustin Wardlow back to pit road as well. I believe he may have had it off. Let's see here. Judging by that car, looked a little bent up. Let's see. Oh, yep. Wardlow had a spin off of turn. It was right before the carousel. That was turn 8. Let's take a look here. And it's going to be the same as kind of what we saw earlier. Just getting aggressive in the braking zone and just missing the mark by a little bit. Oh,
That took off on him.
that did take off. I thought I saw that differently the first time. Now that I saw the other replay, yeah, that was that just took off.
This battle was pretty good at the lead, but I tell you what, Morgan, Paulson, Callisto right now. Nose to tail, coming towards turn 5. And they're fighting for the first spot outside of the top 10.
Jason Bossy also with a long pit stop. Unfortunate for the Jason Bossy fans out there.
So right now, Rasmus definitely holding on with that draft. Gap's come down from where it was straight out of pit lane and is now hovering under a second. Otis is going to stretch it just a fraction on this lap. He'll pull a 10th on him in the overall lap time. By the time they get back to turn 1, Rasmus will probably be in the benefit again. In fact, what's the lap time comparison? A 55.577 from Rasmus. A 55.527 for Otis. Half a 10th between them.
Half a 10th over 4 miles. Oh, David Clymer. For a little spin cycle, what happened? Oh. We're going to see it right here. It just took off.
Did he keep it off the fence? He
Did
did.
hit a thing.
Got right. Oh, I'm still worried about that rejoin after where that cut off. Looks like he got right there. Here's that battle I was talking about. He's come out in amongst the group with Morgan, Callisto, and Paulson, and now he's off the back of it.
Just going in there, it looked like it wheel hopped. Yeah, just under braking, all of a sudden that car took off on David. Just ahead of him. Lionel Callisto continuing that charge back up to the field. 2 cars in front of him. Aaron Morgan getting another spot, back to the 10th spot.
Yeah, that mistake from Clymer. Handing him that top 10 position. So he was able to get by Callisto off our screen somewhere. Oh, wait, no, we saw that happen, didn't we? But he was unable to put a car between them in the way of James Paulson. And Callisto's been working at him for a little while. A couple laps now, and just struggling to find the opportunity to get by as we jump on board now. Over the top, listen to the throttle. I'm not convinced there's a confidence lift. Maybe it's just a scrub of the tyres.
Could very well be.
Where I thought there could have been a lift was an odd place. Sounded like, oh, there's a car at an odd place. That was Vinny and Zubna.
The number 94 machine off in Canada corner.
Damage to the rear wing. Wonder if he got helped. Or did he back it into the fence?
Well, we're going to find out all together.
Fence.
But that looked like a very lazy spin. Or he just got to the corner and he either overshot it or the car just didn't want to do what he wanted it to do.
Car just stopped working. And he grabbed the fence, or the tire bundle rather, with both sides. So that car is now most certainly looking second hand. Callisto finally got the job done on Paulson. and puts himself up into the top 10 spot.
Pass up the front stretch, just like the aforementioned Aaron Morgan got by Lionel Kalisto. Lionel Kalisto is going to get by Pulse down into turn one. About as pretty of a passage you're going to get.
So, what did you say earlier on, Brian? I wonder if Kalisto is a chance he could get back inside the top 10. Well, with 11 laps still to run, he's got there.
Well, and speaking of that, let's take a quick review of the top 10 with about 11 laps to go. I thought I was going to get the punt right. But top 10, Ryan Otis, Mike Rasmus, we've talked about that battle all race long. Richie Hurd, with all of the pit stop cycle shenanigans, has basically pole vaulted himself up into the third spot. Final step on the podium. Chris Reagan, the teammate, team car, working up the hill. Rounding out your top 5, Tommy Ryan. So we're seeing all sorts of movement around here in the field. Matt Taylor back there in 6th. Ricky Harden in 7th. Trevor Malone back there in the 8th spot with Aaron Morgan in 9th. Rounding out the top 10, as Ryan just pointed out, Lionel Little Train Kalisto. Now that everybody's up to speed, we can focus on the last part of this event. This is another tricky corner. It doesn't get enough mention, but turn 3 at Road America is very, very challenging because the points or the markers that you're using for your brake zone are so far back from the track, it's very easy to overshoot that corner and really mess it up, versus like turn 1, where you know when you get to that second cone, you probably should at least start moving your left foot or right foot if you're that kind of a braking style towards that pedal. Turn 3, there just isn't that easy a marker for you to find. So it's very easy to overshoot. See the battle here still simmering between Kalisto and Paulson. Battle still for the 10th spot. Looks like Kalisto's starting to stretch the legs out just a little bit over Paulson.
He is. Now that he's got that move made, he's looking to make good with it and drive away. Wonder if he can go and track down Aaron Morgan. He's about 2 seconds behind him now, but you never know. Could still pan out in his favor in the battle of the two drivers who have made mistakes from very good positions in this race. They started 9th and 7th respectively. Now running 9th and 10th. So Morgan's at least recovered to where he started. It's always a good race if you finish where you started. Yep. Unless you qualified last.
Yeah. Yep. I've been paying attention to this battle for the lead. We're now getting inside 10 laps to go. Ryan Otis, Mike Rasmus. This battle and this gap, this is just right here at the end of the event. This is kind of what we've seen from Mike Rasmus before in the past. He does tend to come on strong at the very, very end of these races. Ryan Otis also very strong at the end of the run. The only separating factor right now could be the draft, so you think Otis is probably going to be trying to hustle that car around. And remember, there could be the off chance that they might be a little light on fuel as well. They're definitely not driving like they're light on fuel.
If they're light on fuel,
fast.
Richie Hurd is in prime position.
I mean, they're running, 55 ones at the front end of the field here. Solid lap times. It's just a remarkable driving. Like I said, over the course of 4 miles, 14 turns, to have two drivers separated by, about less than a tenth each and every single lap. As I think Otis just went purple again. Nope, he didn't. He was just fastest on the track that time.
10th away from his purple lap.
Well, it was a 54.96, and Rasmus back behind him ran a 55.09.
55.5 for Richie Hearn. So that's the pace disparity between the top two and the rest of the field. Richie leading the way for the rest.
Well, on board, or take a look over here with Richie, former real-world IndyCar driver. Don't know, has he raced around Road America? Okay, well, I've been told he has. The Champ Car days.
Did he go well, though?
I don't have his career stats in front of me, but hey, you know, he's raced here in real life. I haven't. So he's instantly more cool than I am.
I got nothing for you. I went looking, and I found nothing.
Let's take a look at the battle here. Aaron Morgan, Malone, go Ryan.
Yeah, I found this. Malone has dropped a spot. Morgan's got by, and if he looks in his mirrors, you'll find Callisto coming up to him very quickly as well. That battle, Morgan having to get by him, did allow Callisto to close in. So that group of the 48 and the 97 is a little bit tighter than it was. There's a purple lap from Otis. 54.906.
Just fantastic racing here around Road America. Beautiful track to look at, even more beautiful to drive on. See Aaron Morgan screaming by the cameras, head down towards turn one. He's got Mr. Malone and Lionel Little Trade Callisto just off the back of that. Dust getting kicked off. I feel like that's kind of the mark of excellence of that corner. Just that little bit of dust kicking up.
Look how much everyone is maximizing their usage of the track down towards turn 5. They end up, some of them, with the left sides on the curb. Callisto almost did it, but he locked up there.
I've seen Otis is one that hangs way over to the right. I've seen Bossy do it earlier. Just trying to make that corner as absolute straight as possible and carry all that speed. You know, the Lotus 79 having the reduced horsepower versus, you know, a modern Formula One car, an Indy car, anything like that. See all of that momentum being huge around a facility like this. That battle for the lead, trading shots. Mike Rasmus, purple, 54.70. You see there on screen the difference in the lap times between Ryan Otis and Mike Rasmus. They've been trading these little barbs back and forth, about a 10th here, 10th there. That right there being just shy of 2/10 was the biggest carve that Mike has been able to get out of that lead. There you see what everybody, or that's Ryan was just talking about there with Mike Rasmus and Ryan Otis taking that corner very wide, leading into turn 5. On board, the Z1 dashboard camera, looking back off of the engine. It's a beautiful camera angle with those heat lines appearing. But just beyond that rear wing lies the 68 machine of Mike Rasmus, staying very vigilant, very close this entire race. Let's go back and take a look on board here with Rasmus. Guys, Games, and Beer, Wisconsin-based podcast for a Wisconsin facility. Can't tell me that wasn't planned. It's perfect. You see him hustling there around Canada Corner. Up through Kettle Bottoms. Nope, I have my corners backwards. Never mind, Kettle Bottoms leading in Canada Corner, not on the other way. I was looking at my track map like Ryan, it was upside down.
Hey, I just spied a move from Callisto on Malone. Down at turn 5, got it done pretty textbook, and now is running in 9th spot. About a second and a half, 2 seconds away from Aaron Morgan. Here's your replay. Led on the brakes, down the inside, gets it stopped, turned, and gets the power down. Nothing that Malone could do there to cover that one off.
Once again, going into turn 5, just about the clean and nice and the passes you want. Whoa! Trevor, they have people to mow the lawn. You don't do it with the car. Cost him a little bit of time in that battle. Aaron Morgan has checked out from the front. Remember, Little Train and Malone were kind of close, and Morgan just seems to have just stepped his game up on capitalizing with them battling, running some pretty solid lap times. Now Morgan, he's set off, and he's trying to chase down Ricky Hart for the 7th spot. That might get there. We have 6 laps to go, but that's just over approximately 10 more minutes here. Possibility is there, presenting itself for Mr. Morgan. Interesting ripple in the battle back up front. Let's take a look. You've got Ryan Otis, Mike Rasmus yet again dealing with some slow traffic. Now they might catch him right here at the perfect spot down the front stretch, or he's just getting way out of the way. Good.
So the top 2 go by unaffected. 5 laps to go at Elkhart Lake. Otis with a 1-second gap. It may seem comfortable, but he misses his braking marker just once. Goes 10 meters too deep. Turns in a fraction of a second too late. Oh, he's a bit too eager, getting the power down, exiting the corner. Then Erasmus will gobble that gap all the way up.
You're absolutely right, Ryan. They're trading lap times yet again. Ryan Otis, 1 minute 54.76. Mike Rasmus, 54.72. You talk about the cream rising to the top. It's fantastic racing between these 2 drivers. And just imagine they get close to each other. Oh, that could be fun. Oh, Rasmus getting everything he could get off it. A little squirrely out of the exit of the corner. This is what you're talking about, Ryan. Just those little mistakes. That with 5 laps to go, coming to 4, when we come back around to the top of the hill, there's no more room for mistakes. You don't have time to build that gap back or to go back and chase the guy ahead of you. This is the point where you've got to focus as the driver, grip that steering wheel just a little harder, and hit your marks. You might not be able to win it, but you sure can cost yourself a great finish by just taking the focus off or trying just that little too much.
See, the pressure now is on Rasmus. They both keep hitting their marks and driving how they've been driving all race. Otis wins, Rasmus comes second, so the onus is on Rasmus to find something extra and close in that gap. Otis can afford to just keep hitting his marks.
You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Astute observation there, Ryan. With the way that they're trading the lap times, a 100th of a second's not going to close that gap. And that time Otis firing back with a 33, taking back the fastest lap, and Rasmus responds with a 36.
They are in another level right now. They are 16 seconds clear of 3rd, 22 on 4th, 30 on 5th. Almost a minute across the top 11.
Should not run across any other traffic between now and the end of the race, barring an incident or a self-spin. Otis
Remember
just
that field number as well.
a fact that I've kind of forgotten about here as we've got towards the end of this race and watching the 1 and the 68 battle there. They're definitely not driving like they're trying to save anything. So I'm thinking that they're probably good.
They should be. They should be. Otis has found a couple tenths on this lap. 1.2 now. It was a second across the line. This is a good lap for your race leader.
Just, you know, the fans at home watching, this is just fantastic. Just fantastic driving. Absolute skill between these two gentlemen on the facility tonight. I think Rasmus may have made a bobble somewhere in the back half of the track. Gap has expanded a little bit. I think Otis has, I believe Otis has engaged hammer time.
54.201, purple lap. Fastest of the race from Otis. Rasmus couldn't respond. He actually went slower than his previous lap. Only a 4.5 for him that time.
Well, and we knew that we are going to have a brand new winner tonight. Previous winners of the event not here, with Adam Blocker and Adam Saunders. Both
So you mean
not here. We got a brand new.
Adam's not going to win?
Adam is not going to win. The lap record, this is the stat that I'm kind of curious of, and I kind of put a pencil in it, and I thought, we'll come back to it if we get close. Lap record is a 53.73 set by Sage Karam. The other fun factoid, the pole sitter has won this race 2 times, both Alex Saunders, in seasons 2 and 3. There's a lot of potential floating around here. If Otis could step it up, that'd be cool to see him go after the lap record. I don't know if he's thinking about it.
I don't think he can get half a second.
Well,
in qualifying, he ran a 54.8. Which, now that I think about it, is slower than what he's done in the race, but...
I was going to let you find that one out.
But I think the track's just a little bit too hot to go after that lap record today.
We'll see. If there's a driver that can get it, it's one of those two up front. Both of them just locked in. No mistakes. I don't know if Ryan Otis, as we come to 2 to go here, 53.96. It's possible.
I'll tell you what, Rasmus must be feeling pretty sore, because he improved by a lot. He went at 54.1 that lap, and you must be thinking, heck yeah, I am on fire that lap, and he's hooked up the road, and Otis has extended the gap again with that blistering time.
It's just the worst when you run a personal best and you lose 2 tenths. Otis just not putting a wheel wrong. Consistent, stable driving. That's what led him to that championship last year. That's the reason why you see the number 1 on that butt kicker machine. Old Roger Penske Marlboro sponsorship inspired Formula One livery. You know, Roger Penske had that the champ car for a while, the Indy car. Just that iconic yellow and orange. Ryan Otis is redefining that color scheme as his, trying to lock down a second consecutive championship.
Mistake from Rasmus through the carousel. Rear end got away from him. He had to catch it, and he loses time. The gap is now 1.7 seconds between them, stretching in favor of Otis.
I'm gonna say Otis definitely engaged hammer time. He has gone and checked out. Looking back though, on board, or take it back, we're gonna look back to Tommy Ryan, Matt Taylor. Get on board with Tommy Ryan, the DMLC or onboard channel. walking down that backstretch. It's a beautiful, beautiful part of the facility where the trees come in, get some tunnel vision. Kind of reminds me of a nature version of Turn 1 at Indy, where the track, it all funnels together and you get that real tunnel vision.
Yep. It is the final lap for your top two out front. Otis's pace fell by 2/10 last lap, but so too did Rasmus's.
Gonna stay on this battle, probably until we get on the other side of the start-finish line. Ryan Otis working his way through hurry downs to turn 8, to turn 9, leading to the carousel. Solid drive for the number 1 driver tonight. Really locking down the end of the season, showing exactly why he's earned that number 1 and why he's probably going to continue to have that number 1 into 2021. Down the backstretch for the final time into Canada Corner. Ryan Otis, Mike Rasmus, a battle for the ages. Drivers, both highly skilled, but in the end, Ryan Otis was able to find that championship factor, lock down the lead, and simply drive away from everybody tonight. Up the hill out of turn 14, one final time. Ryan Otis is your winner here at Road America.
Fantastic drive from the pole sitter to win this one and fend off that advance from Rasmus. And Richie Hearn from P5 on the grid going to come up the hill, cross the line, and round out the podium with 3rd place at the end of this one at Road America. Oh, for P5, he's run wide. Tommy Ryan, it's given Matt Taylor a run, but I think he's going to get away with it. At the last corner, he almost threw it away. He's just going to hold it.
Let's get a look at that. Tommy getting real aggressive towards turn 14. Just a bit of overstep. And I'll be honest, I think Taylor, he maybe made a slight bobble when he saw Ryan overreact. Because I feel like with the way that Tommy took that corner, Taylor could have been closer, but hey, you know, it's the last corner, last lap. That's how we're going to do it. Boys and girls, we're going to come back, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back on the other side for our post-race show presented by HyperX. You stay tuned. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Rumble at Road America, presented by Z1 Dashboard and the HyperX post-race show. Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX. When you're trying to claw your way to the top of the podium, it pays to have an ultra-comfortable, high-quality headset that gives you audio information that you need to grab the checkered flag. From high-performance DRAM and SSDs to outstanding microphones, accurate mouse, responsive keyboards, and their legendary cloud line of gaming headsets, which I have on top of my ears right now. HyperX makes gaming gear that you need to succeed. Casual or pro, no matter your creed, color, or culture, we are all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. Use promo code LionHRT15 at hyperx.com. And now we're going to go and take a look at the Turn Racing finishing order. Turn Racing, merging the gap between real and sim racing. Use promo code Lionheart10 at turnracing.com. You got Ryan Otis out front, the dominating victory from the pole to the win and everything in between. Mike Rasmus in second, Richie Hearn in the third spot. Fourth to Chris Reagan and Tommy Ride with that very close battle to the line for fifth between him and Matt Taylor. Taylor ended up finishing sixth. Seventh to Aaron Morgan. Eighth to Lionel Little Train Callisto. Ninth to Ricky Hart. 10th to James Paulson.
Just outside of that top 10, Trevor Malone, Jason Bozzi in at 12th. Ryan Corns, 13th. Finian, 14th. Scott Holmes, +6 to come home 15th out of George Anzaldo, who was a final car on the lead lap. Then David Clymer, Tayson Landis was 3 laps down. Robert Mikes, 5 down. Austin Wardlow, Jürgen Lehner. All retirements from this race. Unfortunately, Michael Rigney did not take to the start in this one.
Now let's head on down to Sim Experience Victory Lane. Let's talk to our podium, Ryan Otis. Buddy, we thought maybe at the end there with about 3 to go, you kind of engaged hammer time because just out of nowhere, you just clicked off the fastest laps of the event and that built that gap that you needed to hold off Rasmus at the end. Walk us through those final couple laps.
Oh, well, to be honest, Scott, I was just pushing so hard the entire time, and I could not get away from Mike. He was so fast, and we were both really pretty even earlier in the week, so I knew it was going to kind of come down to qualifying, and man, I was just driving the wheels off the thing really the whole race, and then the last 5 laps or so, the car just kind of starts feeling really good. It's really light on fuel, and for whatever reason, this car on old tires just feels better. So you get way down on fuel, and you got really old tires, and the thing just wants to fly. So I was giving it really everything I had from the green flag. So I gotta give props to Mike, man. He was just flying. I was doing everything I could to try to get away from him.
It was fantastic watching you two battle because it was a technical battle. It was 2 drivers at the outer edge of their talent and their skill, fully on display for everybody to see here at the broadcast. It was a lot of fun. I imagine that you were probably smiling a little bit in the driver's seat there.
Oh, I would string together just 2 or 3 like perfect corners, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's awesome. I totally opened up a 10th or 2, and then I look and he's like a 10th closer. I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I have to do? That was just a ton of fun. I got to give a big shout out to HyperX for all the support they give us, and and George and the admin team, and really everybody who puts in all the effort to make these happen. But that was so much fun. I had a blast, really, flag to flag.
Tonight also big for your championship title defense. Sage wasn't here tonight, but California at the end there, we got double points, but you got 2 more races here, buddy. You got to be setting your sights on it. You got to start thinking about it now, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's always it's always nice to have a little bit of point buffer. But yeah, like you say, the last race is double points, so really anything can happen. I heard, I saw earlier today that Sage wasn't going to make it, and I was really, I knew it probably meant that, I was probably not going to be winning because he's so fast on road courses. It's just ridiculous. But I was still really disappointed he wasn't here. I love racing with him. He's, him and Mike, who's newer to the series. These guys are so good and they're so clean. That's what amazes me more than anything is just, push the car within an inch of really everything it's worth, and you still come out clean the other side. When you're racing with these guys, so it really is. It's a pleasure.
That's fantastic, Ryan. We had it was a blast up here in the booth watching that battle for the win. Congratulations. You are now 100, excuse me, 135 points up. George just updated the points. So that's got to feel good, buddy.
Yeah. Wow. I do feel a little better about that.
There you go. Any final shout outs before we let you go and celebrate?
Now, well, I got to thank my wife for putting up with all this crazy racing stuff I do.
Amen.
Couldn't do it without her. She's taking care of the kids and everything. And, got to give a shout out to my favorite spotter, who's my son, Sam. So we always have a blast doing these things. So yeah, thanks to you guys too for doing the broadcast. You always do a great job. I really enjoy watching it afterward.
Thank you very much, Ryan. That was our winner tonight here at Road America. Ryan Otis setting his sights on a second consecutive Retro Series championship. You're just going to have to tune in these next 2 weeks and find out if you can do it. Ryan, you've caught up with Mike Rasmussen. Boy, that was a fun battle at the end of that one, wasn't it?
Mike, you were there. You were so close, but you have to set up a second in the end. So let's do that race.
Yeah, I mean, it's Ryan Otis. He's the best. He always remembers to take his genius pills, and I just took my follow Ryan pills today. So, basically, we were pretty close all week, but he definitely had a couple tenths, and I think as long as I could stay in his draft, I get those tenths back, and then it looks like we're even. But, that was 100% everything I had, and it was so much fun. It's great. Always great racing with Ryan, and I'm really proud I could keep up with him today.
Last couple of laps in the race, I mean, you were close, and then he seemed to find an extra gear and started putting down purple after purple lap. He said to us that the car just came to him as the fuel burned off. Did you not have that same sort of experience, or just couldn't quite find the same outright pace?
I think I was overdriving so hard for most of the race there, and if you get close, you start to get that aero wash stuff, and so I think the effect of the old tires doesn't quite come in for the car following. So I didn't quite get those amazing laps, but it was still, I knew by the end I could, push, and maybe if you made a mistake, I could catch back up. But that was about all I could hope for.
In terms of the championship, then that should leapfrog you up inside the top 10. That a solid result for you if that's how it finishes at the end of the season?
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm looking just to keep going with my top 5s, top 10s, and consistency throughout the rest of the season.
Alrighty, well, you only got 2 rounds left to finish it off. Who do you want to thank for helping you get it done today? Get up there on the podium.
Just want to thank George for putting the series on as always, and you guys for broadcasting, and also Andrew Kinsella for making another great setup. Really enjoyed this setup this week.
Good job once again. Thanks for joining us, Mike. We'll hopefully see you next time.
Thanks.
All righty, this is going to be fun. Richie, buddy, P3 today. Walk us through it. Richie, try keying up the mic the other way. Well, these sort of things happen on live broadcasts. So, let's see, we got him back yet, Richie?
You hear me now?
Hey, there we go.
All right. I don't know why my mic wasn't picking it up, but yeah, I was saying I'm so stoked to be here. I've worked so hard to finally get to the interview room, and after a year and a half of trying, I finally didn't mess up, and here I am, man. I can't be any happier.
That's good, man. That's good. I mean, how close we were talking on the broadcast, drivers that pitted on 15 versus 16. Was it really as close as we saw or as we could pull from the pre-race intel, or it wasn't really a threat being fuel mileage?
It wasn't a threat. I did the practice race on I think Tuesday, and I found out I could actually go 17 laps without trying too hard. So I was watching it a little bit, but it wasn't really that much of a problem. It really was just a matter of just not making a mistake and sending yourself into the fence.
Very solid play, especially around here. Just keep it out of the fence, keep it on the track. Happy. I mean, you had some good battles throughout the event, and then out of the pit stop cycle, you kind of found yourself in third. Did you think that you kind of had that pace, or did it just kind of fell into your lap and you just kind of rolled with it?
Well, I knew I could run about the lap times I could run. I had a good run battle with Matt Taylor and Dustin Wardlow at the beginning, but once I kind of cleared them and got by my teammate Chris, I kind of just ran my race and really just tried to focus on not making any mistakes. I mean, those two guys up in front, Mike and Ryan, they were gone. I didn't even try to catch them. I was hoping that they'd crash into each other and maybe I'd luck into it, but really I just focused on just trying not to drop wheels and just kind of keep a gap. I was stoked my teammate finished behind me. He's been struggling with this track. I got to give him some props as well. He kind of helped me out actually with a couple of lines. I was struggling with practice, and he helped me out watching me a little bit. And finally, I just kind of put it together. I mean, the last race I was running fourth at Spa, and I went over the white line at the exit and kind of threw that away. So in my mind, I was really just trying not to mess up. That's really all that mattered. And I wanted to get to this room to talk to you guys.
Sounds fantastic, Richie. Before we let you go, celebrate your third place finish. Any other final shout outs that you'd like to have?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to thank HyperX for sponsoring the series. George puts on an awesome group of guys here. It's so much fun at Lionheart, and I'm proud to be a part of it. Also like to thank HPP. They've helped me out with some pedals. And Simordal's been on our Elite West team for a while. And hopefully I can keep it going at the next race and see where we end up trying to get that Rookie of the Year championship.
Sounds good, Richie. We'll catch you at the next one.
Awesome, guys. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Have a great night. Ryan, seen a fantastic 31-lap battle here at Road America. Any final thoughts for my coworker?
That was a good race, wasn't it? Fantastic all the way through, and a great battle for the win. But I think Ryan Otis more than deserving of that victory he claimed today, and it is a solid result for his championship as well. Can't wait to see how the last two rounds pan out.
Sounds good. When all of that racing action will be here live on the Global Sim Racing channel on the iRacing Esports Network. It's time for us to turn this broadcast off for another night. We talked about the Sim Experience Victory Lane. That's the Sim Experience AccuForce steering system, the most advanced tuning features on the market. The AccuForce Direct Drive, second only to the real thing. Check out the entire Sim Experience line of products. Head on over to simexperience.com. The Lionheart Retro Series, presented by DMLC Racing Channel. If you're looking for entertaining sim racing content, look no further than the DMLC Racing Channel. Follow 2019 Lionheart Retro Series Driver of the Year Mark Cohn's racing escapades as he battles for wins, avoids wrecks with cat-like reflexes, all while providing commentary sure to make you laugh or cry, maybe a little bit of both. Follow along by subscribing to the DMLC Racing Channel on YouTube or like his Facebook page at the DMLC Racing Channel. HyperX, whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows we're all gamers. Use promo code LionHRT15 at hyperx.com. Sim Experience, yet again, second only to the real thing, simexperience.com. Butt Kicker also, feeling what you've been missing, promo code LION2020, thebuttkicker.com to contact any of the sponsors that you see on the screen right now. Right now, go to LionheartRacingSeries.com and click on 2020 sponsors. Original music on every GSRC broadcast comes courtesy of June Lalonde. See the screen for more contact info. And you see on the screen right now some of the company's equipment, software, everything that makes this possible. We've talked about the final 2 races. The penultimate event of the season returns November 12th at Laguna Seca with GSRC on the call to bring you all of the action. We hope that you certainly will join us. If you'd like more information about GSRC, including a complete list of future broadcasts, you can find it all at Global Sim Racing Channel, globalsimracingchannel.com. We're also on Facebook, facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel. Our Twitter account at GSRC or GSR Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. If you're not a GSRC YouTube subscriber, I don't know why you're not. So you should go right now, head on over to the GSRC YouTube page, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss another fantastic broadcast. Check out the GSRC merch store at gsrc.storeenvy.com. Link in the description as well. Finally, on behalf of everybody, myself, Ryan, Sean, and Dougie, we'd like to thank you all for watching as Ryan Otis gets the win at the Rumble at Road America, presented by Z1 Dashboard. May your connection stay stable and your right foot stays planted. Good night, everyone.